Kia ora, it's Chris with Earth Sciences New Zealand, recording this on the 25th day of November, Tuesday, November 25th. And we're talking about wind, more wind. Look, we had that windy period, as we know, back in October. In fact, much of spring has been windy. Bit of a break over the past couple of weeks, but we got more wind coming up. So we're going to pick things up on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. Again, recording this on the 25th. So this is valid, as you can see around the clock, the 26th of November. And look at this, plenty of gold coloring on the map. That is not exactly the strongest wind, 50K wind gust, but we do see plenty of the red here, particularly over higher elevations. So it will be a windy afternoon across much, late morning and afternoon, I should say. This is 11 o'clock, 11:30 in the morning, and notice many areas will be gusting. I'm just kind of moving around here on the map. Wind gust of 60, 70, 80 kilometers per hour, close to 100. And where you do see that red, that is where wind gusts are forecast to get near or above 100 kilometers per hour. And that will persist pretty much through the entire day. And that strong wind, obviously we have to be concerned for things like fire risk. So just putting our Fire and Emergency New Zealand hat on, you're going to want to be mindful of what you do outside and how you behave, because with high wind and, yes, high temperatures, you can see this is 9 o'clock in the morning, but boy, by early afternoon, we're seeing temperatures well into the middle, maybe even upper 20s. So it'll be a very warm to hot day across eastern portions of the South Island. The wind, the warm temperatures, and the low humidity. You can see humidity values are forecast to be near or below 40%. In some instances, could be below 30%. So not exactly good conditions if we don't want fire, so keep that in mind. Of course, any watches, warnings, you're going to want to stay on top of that with our friends at MetService. They'll keep you up to date with any watches or warnings. So let's go back to the wind. You can see, let's head to the North Island. Some gusty breezes for places like Wellington and the Wairarapa. Also, the Tararua is a bit of, I guess, red there. Those are expected wind gusts near or above 100 kilometers per hour. Farther north, the wind not quite so strong, and you can see this is a kind of a northerly wind, north to northwest wind, so that is a warm wind direction. So look at this. It's going to be the eastern North Island that may see some of the highest temperatures. Notice by mid-afternoon at 3 p.m., the model is picking temperatures to be pretty close to 30 degrees in places like Napier and Hawke's Bay. So it will be hot, downright hot for eastern portions of the North Island, including eastern Wairarapa into the eastern portion, particularly central and eastern portions of Hawke's Bay. Places in the Manawatu also going to be very warm to hot with temperatures in the middle, maybe upper 20s, 27 degrees there. Again, this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Farther north into the Waikato, temperatures quite warm for the Hamilton area, 25, maybe 26 degrees for a maximum. So warm weather right throughout the country. In terms of rainfall, not expecting too much rain. There may be a few pop-up showers. You can see that during the daytime heating across the central and, I guess, eastern portion of the North Island. This is around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday. Farther to the south, perhaps a bit of rain over northern portions of the South Island early on Wednesday morning. But as we move through time, that band of rain weakens as it approaches the Wellington area. Could see some evening showers. So if you have evening plans in Wellington on Wednesday after about 5 o'clock, the threat of showers will be increasing, something to keep in mind if you have the midweek outdoor activity. Or maybe, hey, look, we're starting the time of year where the Christmas functions are ramping up, so maybe that's your jam in Wellington later in the day on Wednesday. Something to keep in mind. Again, it's a late day, early evening threat for showers. What about beyond Wednesday? Can we expect more wind and more rain and more warmth? Well, the short answer is yes. So here it is, 1 o'clock in the morning. Just to set things up, you can see rain poised to move onshore over the western and lower portion of the South Island. Let's switch gears, go to a different modeling. This is our NZ LAM model, we call it, limited area model if you really want to know the name of it. But This goes out an extra day. It's not quite the detailed resolution, but we offset that with an extra 24 hours. So this goes well into Thursday. And you can see low pressure will be positioned, is forecast to be positioned well off the west coast of the South Island, west of Fiordland. Around that low, look, airflow is what? As we know, clockwise around low pressure in the southern hemisphere, anti or counterclockwise up north, the northern hemisphere. So we got low pressure like so, and we have these warm north to northwest winds. And that is going to be a theme, once again, just cleaning it up for the day on Thursday. So that's early in the morning. Let's go to Thursday morning proper as we're going to work in school. Some people are already done with school. You can see there is the center of low pressure well to the south-southwest of the main South Island coast. And you can see the reds quite evident across the high country of Canterbury and especially the Alps. Again, any watches and warnings, check with MetService. But there will be some stronger type wind gusts, it looks like. Look at this Thursday afternoon. We can see some pretty strong winds, and that will fuel not only a brisk airflow, the pressure gradient, but also very warm to hot temperatures. Get a load of this. Have a look at what the forecast temperatures could be. This is early in the afternoon, only 1:30 in the afternoon, and we could see temperatures well into the 20s, possibly 30 degrees by 1:30 in the afternoon for the eastern portion of the South Island. And the North Island really going to be roasting. Look at that, 31 degrees by, 1:30 in the afternoon in Hawke's Bay. That's what the prediction is. So it is going to be a scorcher. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if some areas get to 33, 34. Sometimes the model can underdo how warm it gets, particularly with a brisk kind of northerly firn wind. So it will be windy. It will be warm. I don't see damaging wind gusts, but again, watches and warnings from MetService will shed some light on that. But certainly, from a fire and emergency perspective with the wind and the low humidity and the high temperatures, here you can see humidity values. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Humidity values as low. Did you see that? 24, 23%. Look at that. Yeah, 23%. Very low humidity values. This is really concerning. So this is something we'll have to keep in mind. You do want to be responsible. Checkouts are right before you light. That's the motto, and we have the website where Fire and Emergency New Zealand has a website for that. What about the rain? We did say, what about the threat of rain? So there will be heavy rain across the west of the South Island. Should not overlook that. That rain gets going well and truly in the pre-dawn hours of Thursday morning, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you can see that purple along the western side of the southern Alps in the South Island, I should say. And it will rain pretty good. Let's go to one of my favorite animations is this. Where is it? It's coming up. It's so good that I can't remember where it is, where it lives. Yes, there's the one. See? Now, this isn't an atmospheric river, so ignore that. Ignore that. Well, actually, let's have a look. No, it's not. Ignore that. But what's cool about this is we can look at the predicted rainfall by using what's called the bars. So the bigger the bars, the bigger the rainfall totals or the forecast of them. And we start off with, you can see Wednesday morning, the bars grow, and then they grow again. Look at that. So some areas are possibly going to see upwards of 300 to 400 millimeters of rain over the next 3 days. So this isn't over, say, 24 hours. This is a 72-hour forecast. So what you're looking at here is a 72-hour forecast from 7 a.m. Tuesday to 7 a.m. Friday. And boy, that is a lot of rain forecast. And you can see what the Southern Alps do, acting like a barrier, just being a bit of a nerd here. You can see how along and west of the Southern Alps, a lot of big bars, a lot of heavy rain. Into the east, hardly anything. So heaviest rain likely in the western side of the South Island. In fact, what I can do here just to make it easier to see what the rainfall forecast is, let's spin around and have a deeper look because this is some pretty beefy rainfall forecast. Look at that. Yeah, 300, 200. I thought I saw 400 millimeter in there. Yeah, there it is. See, 408. Not 450. Gosh. Now, we'll see if that actually happens. Sometimes the model can be a bit heavy-handed. Nonetheless, that's a 3-day total. And that's a wet place of the country, but it tells you, even from that part of the country, 400 millimeters of rain over 3 days is something to, is certainly noteworthy, right? So can we expect this wind to continue? So let's pick things up. I'll put the wind back on. This is Thursday morning, just backing up a little bit here. More wind coming. Look at this. Zooming out a little bit, there's yet another low. If we go to the west and zoom out, you can see quite plainly another deep low over the Southern Ocean and some more strong wind just south of Tasmania. This is early in the morning on Friday. This is another weather system coming toward us. So what I can do here is back up a little bit and let's pick things up, let's say early on Friday morning. There's the forecast low, pretty well west and south. Let's put the wind gust on there, bring things up to speed. And as we get into the weekend, that low passes south, but yet another low emerges across the Tasman Sea. Look at this guy. This is very early in the morning on Sunday, pre-dawn hours. That is another significant low. So we could be looking at another significant weather system, perhaps Saturday night, but especially on Sunday. Actually, I take that back. Saturday night, if things speed up, but if the modeling is correct, that would be a Sunday and maybe early Monday event. And it looks like the South Island and Lower North Island would be most susceptible or at highest risk for strong wind and, heavy rain. Look at that. There's a low pressure forecast to move east and south. I bet you there's a temperature gradient, a really nice thermal gradient, and yep, there is. You can see very warm temperatures to the north, colder temperatures to the south. We're looking at about a mile above the ground, 850 hectopascals. That's how we measure altitude and meteorology pressure levels. So this pressure difference or temperature difference will fuel a low that will move east across the southern Alps and the South Island, bringing with it the wind and the rain. This is again on Sunday. So if you have plans this weekend across the lower North Island and much of the South Island, particularly on Sunday, keep a sharp eye on the weather forecast, watches and warnings from MetService. Where can we expect the heaviest weather in terms of rain and wind? There will be warm temperatures with that. No mistaking. In fact, let me clean this up. So this is Sunday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the global model is putting out temperatures well into the 20s. I mean, when the global model has temperatures of 28, 30 degrees, did you see that? Let's have a look here. This is toward Gizzy and over toward Hawke's Bay. Temperatures, there was a 30 in there. Can we find it? I don't want to get hung up on this, but yeah, I definitely saw a 30. Nonetheless, when the global model has temperatures of 28, 29, 30 degrees at this time horizon, well out into the future, I could see temperatures, if this validates or this verifies, well into the 30s for eastern portions of the North Island. A lot of water to go under the bridge before we kind of get too excited about that, but just kind of a heads up, that is the direction of travel. And it'll be warm potentially too for much of the country, and including the eastern South Island, but they'll have cloud, maybe keeping temperatures down. So just heads up, the wind, the warm temperatures, they're going to persist. We're going to find these bouts of heavy rain as well. After that heavy rain, we're going to see Thursday. There's that right there, right? And then we get a break Thursday night. Probably Friday. A good break on Friday. Looks pretty good. Friday looks to be a good day, though there will be some morning showers, maybe some thunderstorms across the North Island. But by Friday evening, that's pretty much gone. Saturday looks to be a good day for the North Island. If you're thinking about the weekend, never too early to start thinking about the weekend. And much of the South Island looks good too on Saturday, though. Could be rain on the western side of the South Island. It's that low that comes in Sunday that could bring some significant weather potentially for the South Island, maybe the lower North Island with wind and rain and those very warm temperatures. Be smart out there if you're going to be out and about. Particularly with the weather over the next few days. As I mentioned, this week we're going to have these bouts of high wind and these high temperatures along with low humidity. Not really good from a fire weather perspective. So That's it for me. Oh, a shameless plug, if I may. We're going to be issuing our summer outlook very soon. As I say, we are recording this on the 25th. The summer outlook is set to be released on Monday, December 1st, if I got my dates right. So Monday, December 1st, the summer outlook will be describing the themes to expect for the summer season across the country. And we'll be releasing a video to go with that outlook again, Monday, the 1st of December. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Namihi Nui.